Ladies and gentlemen, for about the last 24 hours, 36 hours, I've been trying to figure out how to relay the data to you. Now, hold on, I gotta get it started. Here we go. Let's get this party started. So I haven't really known how to relay the data to you guys because I spent like 60 videos from August 29th up until the time Florence hit. And technically, I spent from last hurricane season to this hurricane season warning you all that this hurricane season might be as bad, if not worse, than last year. And I've been more effective, but nowhere near as effective enough. And so, from the last 24 or 36 hours, not counting the last possibly 8 hours or 4 hours, I pulled stills from each different model run that I found interesting. And this situation, it is lit. If you want to go to best case scenario, nobody gets hit by any more hurricanes or typhoons. Worst case scenario, can you handle it? If I'm going to say it, if you don't want me to lay it out for you, then have you gone? Okay. Worst case scenario, places in the United States and across the world get hit by 3 to 8 hurricanes and typhoons in the next 2 weeks. And look, right there, this is a real-time flood map from 1999. And so it would show you what was flooding where, what rivers, where they were going to. And somehow, just like the space shuttle, our technology's gone backwards on almost everything. And so these are different model runs from the last 24, 46 hours. And so, yeah, we have, this is Leslie, I think, that just kind of sits there and hangs and churns. And this is what Kirk may or may not be. They say the wind shear totally kicked Kirk's ass and the wind shear beat everybody's butt. And yes, I use boobs, but like I said, if this situation is like Florence times 2 to 4, then I'm using whatever trick in the book I can to catch people's attention. And so if this is the situation we have around October 1st, the 27th, it's going to be a big problem. We know we've got another like 888 millibar low hitting in the West Pacific, which could cause major problems. And so I've just been trying to figure out a better way to communicate. Because worst case scenario is pretty dang bad. And as I pointed out, we have been hit by 4 major hurricanes in 13 months. It was like Harvey, Maria, Irma, Florence. And we are not responding to it as well as I thought we might. Civilization is still retrograding. And so right now it feels like a very dangerous game of musical chairs, where if the music stops and you don't get a chair, you or people in your family die if you're along the coast, the East Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, Puerto Rico, the islands, and even a few model runs have shown what would look like a tropical depression, tropical storm, hurricane hitting South Carolina. Wait, California, Cali. Yeah, that's right. I had talked about this a couple times earlier in the season when the water above or around the ocean water around San Diego is like 10 or 15, 20 degrees hotter than normal. And the last time I checked, it was around 80 degrees. And so some of the models have been showing like one or two low pressure systems going up right before Southern Carolina. And this one would be a hit on Puerto Rico. That's Puerto Rico right there. I think that's Kirk. And so, we just, if you took the worst of all the model runs, and people will say, you can't do that. Well, I can and I do. I don't expect all the worst to come in, but you try to look for an average. And so you got like the West Pacific hit with, is it Tamari? I forget the name of it. But that would be like China, Japan, Guam, Philippines, I think. I could be wrong. And then Hawaii has the potential of, it's got more systems firing at it. And then, like I said, we have a system that is going to get closer to California than I can ever remember. And even if it doesn't go near Cali, it is going to, some of the models have shown it adding a whole lot of rain to the monsoon season into Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico. Hey, look, there's a door. What's behind door number 1? See the door right there? In the 3 corners, but that's not a corner. It looks like a door to me. That's all I want to point out. And so, I did not trust the high pressure zone, Florence, and I don't trust the high pressure zone, Leslie, and I think that overall, okay, here's one of the scenarios where we have a low pressure system that would hit souther than Los Angeles, but it's going to add, from some of the model runs, a whole lot of moisture up into, like I said, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada. Even if they don't get hit, that looks like a whole lot of rain. Like tons. And so I feel like I've done a great job as your Planetary Defense Commander. I've laid out the only real option I see for all people on Earth to operate as one Earth family. And meet these Earth changes together. I've told you about, for 5 years, I've been telling you about the point where we get to. And the problem is, it doesn't seem like any of my information is sticking. Because if it is not political, nobody seems to want to talk about it. And so this model didn't have California getting hit, but it did have, with a low pressure system, but it did have them just getting a deluge of rain again, somewhere around the beginning of October. And so I've been talking for almost 10 days, 2 weeks now, about how the weather is going to get really weird around the 26th. And it's going to stay that way for a week or two, by my calculations. And that hurricane season does not end until November. It is September 24th. So we have at least 5 weeks. And the next 2 or 3 weeks could be extremely hairy. That was literally the models, the different models have shown possible hurricane activity for the East Coast, Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, California, Hawaii, the West Pacific, you name it, the models have shown it. And so this is the time that we are supposed to be kicking ass. And look how, and that's what I'm talking about. We don't know which one is going to play out because this is like 3-card Monty. And we were trying to guess. But even if half of the bad stuff only happens, then it's still pretty bad. And so I know that they downgraded this hurricane season 3 times. And that didn't turn out too accurate because we've already been hit by Florence, which at one time took 1,000 roads in North Carolina offline. We are seeing major, massive, mega flooding, not only there, but up towards the Great Lakes. Texas had the middle of Texas, North Texas, had some of its worst single-day flooding ever. And then here, I forget the name of this one, but once again, we were at like 886 millibars of pressure. I mean, that is 170 to 200 mile per hour winds. So, you know, and that is for, I'm not very good at geography over there. One day I would really like to visit. I think that's China. And then it runs the map, and then it turns into a giant low pressure system all the way across the map. And then here we watch one of the model runs had a low pressure system, depression, tropical storm, hurricane, whatever the hell you want to call it, getting real close to San Diego and South California. As I said, that these waters at about 15 or 20 degrees hotter than normal, right around 8 degrees, which is hot enough to form a hurricane. All you need is 80 degrees to form a hurricane. And look at the low pressure systems at the north part of the planet. That's just wowzers, man. And so hurricane seasons are a challenge for sure. And so I don't know how to convey the danger level more accurately, not scare you, but make sure that you prepare. If you are on the coast, Texas, all along the Gulf Coast, Florida, up the East Coast, Puerto Rico, the islands, Mexico, prepare. Go get water now, just in case. Beans, things that you will eat if a hurricane does not hit your coastal city. Things that you will eat or use. But if a hurricane did happen and you chose to stay, they would help you out. But if you've been watching some of the Florence footage, the storm surge and the resting water is at like in some areas it's like 15, 20 feet, where it's on the second or third floor of the house, where you have entire neighborhoods underwater. It's like we had Puerto Rico get crushed. 3,000 people died and more. Hawaii had a volcano erupt, earthquakes, more volcano lava, destroyed neighborhoods, highways. You know, Harvey, Florida, now North Carolina. I don't know how to explain it better that the sun is changing, our planet is changing, and we are changing. So our group planet goal is to come together as one family and adapt to these changes. Yeah, I know that sounds hard. Some people will say it's impossible, but that is so not true. Like, all we got to do is get along. All we got to do is let civilization progress. Bring rock and roll back. The sun would love that. Maybe she would calm down. Bring comedy back. Stop focusing every single human being's energy, all-encompassingly, on politics. What's it talking about? Yeah, so everybody needs to be on super duper high alert. I have not looked at the models in the last 8 hours. Here's the deal. I went to a bar. Because what happened was, I went to go run an errand, but the sun was kicking. So I had my GoPro, and I followed the sun around with my GoPro. It's a really great shot. I'll get that up later. And then there was like a shaft of light. So I went to this bar. And at the bar, the bartender was gorgeous. But, I don't know, all the dudes around me were like, It felt like I could be misreading it, but they're like, you're not that cool. And I'm like, well, I'm talking about how do you express to people that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 possible dangerous hurricanes. So it does my coolness. Yeah, I'm the coolest, bud. Hey, everybody wake up. And you really can't talk shit to me because, like I said, I'm over here trying to point it all out. And so, yeah, I don't know. There's so much I have to say. So what I did was I drank 2 beers and 2 shots of whiskey. But when I drank the second round, the beer, and the second shot of whiskey, soon I drank them real fast, and then I drove home. So by the time my blood alcohol level got past 0.8, I was already at home. Because as your planetary defense commander, you gotta know how to party. And I don't mean party, I just mean like unwind, because, you know, this is a lot of hurricanes and people don't seem to be paying that much of attention. So I am just letting everyone know on the West Coast, Gulf Coast, the East Coast, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, we are all on high alert. We are all on wild weather. WTF is going on in this wave after wave after wave pattern of fire and ice. We gotta get our shit together, man. It's that simple. And I haven't checked that low pressure system that was heading towards North Carolina, but it looked deadly and dangerous, and it looked like it was going to bring more rain than they advertised. I don't think the storm itself, whoa, I'm having audio problems. I don't think the storm itself is dangerous, but knowing that their river levels are still rising, it's only going to add to the problem. So I've been trying to work on a couple of videos to express all the stuff I'm talking about. I will get those out. The last few days have been weird. Another thing, yeah, like, during that same 24-hour, 36-hour span, I've been having problems with hackers. And so, like, there's sometimes they don't even give me enough of my memory to edit, because edit takes a lot of memory. And so, I don't know, man. Who would not want me to inform the people, you know? But yeah, I got a lot of stuff to put out. It's just I don't, you know, this is a very tenuous, can be stressful situation, and people just don't seem that really mentally prepared to handle these challenges. You know, the mass, you guys are. And if this video wasn't that great, I apologize, but it says, I was trying to explain before, that sometimes when the data comes in and I have to transmute it to you guys, but not do it in a way that's like, oh my God, we're doomed. And I don't think we're doomed at all. We just have to work together. Like if we're going to pretend like this is 2016 or 2015, 2014, and we're just going to stand around twiddling our thumbs and tweeting anger, yeah, we're in deep shit. Yeah, so like I was saying, I got a lot of shit I've edited. I just don't. It's best to put it all correctly. Yeah, those are clouds and rain bands. Look at that. This was like yesterday. This is your moisture situation. Oh, it's snow. What day with it? Yeah. Look at how much rain is all over the place. Crazy days. 20 minutes. Did I say anything? Oh, well, how do I? Dang. All right. I love you. Stay cool. I'll get better. I got it out. Now I can talk normal. Or whatever. May the force be with you always. God bless.